Share screen. Gonna mute myself. All right, we had to give that a second shot, but welcome to Parent University for our January monthly event. My name is Laura Jacob, and I'm the superintendent at California Area School District. And for this month's Parent University session, we're going to focus on Dr. Dweck's work with mindset. And what I'm going to do is provide you some key components from her work, from her book, and some ways that it applies to you as a parent of children in school or children that are about to be in school. But you'll also see that Dr. Dweck's work also transcends into works with not only academics but also athletics, with relationships, as well as with being a leader and dealing with ego. So I will highlight some key components from this book. Please know that as parents and guardians of California Area School District, if you're interested in receiving a copy of the book, to just complete our form under our Parent University page, and we will send you a copy of the book. And I do encourage you to take advantage of those. And each month we will do a different book and focus on a different area. And this spring we're really going to focus on the cognitive sciences. So let's jump into one of my favorite researchers and one that I really enjoy following, and that's Dr. Dweck out of Stanford University. So one of the key components that she starts off immediately in the book is that she discusses the way that you think about yourself will really affect the way you lead your life. And in her work, she talks about having two mindsets: having a growth mindset versus having a fixed mindset. And with the growth mindset, she says those individuals have a cognitive background of feeling that the basic qualities of a person can be cultivated through effort, and that they also have a mindset that everyone can change and everyone can grow and get better in the work that they do. She also identifies that in her research that people with a growth mindset feel a person's true potential is unknown, meaning that it's not stagnant, it's not deemed from the very start at birth, but that their true potential can always grow and always get better. She said that people with a growth mindset tend to pay attention and pay very close attention to information in order to stretch their learning and stretch their understanding. She said growth mindset individuals seek challenges, they look forward to challenges, they know that they have to put in the effort, and also from a student perspective, especially at the middle level, students with a growth mindset, when they're dealing with bullying, they first seek to understand the perspective of the bully. And we'll highlight bullying here in a little bit as we go through this presentation. Now, on the converse, she said that there are individuals that have a very fixed mindset. And when you look at a fixed mindset, individuals with a fixed mindset believe their qualities are fixed in stone. They have this urgency or this need to prove themselves over and over and over again. And they focus on looking smart and being quote unquote smart, as opposed to seeking challenges in order to get better. She also said that when you look at individuals with fixed mindsets, that they're only interested in feedback that supports their ego. So they're not looking for feedback to identify to them how they can get better, but they just want to hear that, for example, in school, the fixed mindset child or adult would just look for that A, for example, or that sticker on the sheet of paper. And it just feeds the ego as opposed to looking at feedback that helps them get better, which would be more of a growth mindset component. Individuals with a fixed mindset, they tend to avoid challenge. They believe that you either have the ability or you don't. So if you tie that to sports, for example, you're either a great basketball star or you're not, and there's no changing how that outcome will be. Fixed mindset individuals also, they nurse their confidence in order to protect it. And also when dealing with bullying, and then this is especially in the middle level, that individuals with a fixed mindset, if they're dealing with bullying or with bullies, they seek to get revenge. So that is their main goal, is just to get back at that bully. And so we can dive deeper into these two mindsets. And please know that this is a very fluid series of moving between growth and fixed mindset. You could have a growth mindset for yourself for 10 minutes and then possibly switch over to a fixed mindset. Or you could have a very growth mindset when it comes to learning how to play a musical instrument, and yet have a fixed mindset when it comes to your skills on the soccer field. And so know that you're not just one person or the other, but it's this constant work towards hopefully becoming having more of a growth mindset in your work and in the way that you lead, both as a child as well as into an adult. So what are the areas where a fixed mindset is the most prevalent? You can definitely see it in the arts when you look at artists, when you look at musicians, so artists as far as visual artists. We see it very often where there's this fixed mindset of you're either an artistic genius or you're not. That is definitely utilizing the fixed mindset. In academics, we also see it where a child will say, for example, I'm just not good at math, or I'm not a writer, I can't be a writer. That's having a very fixed mindset, as opposed to I can get better at mathematics, I just need to try harder. So that is evidence that we see both with fixed mindset as well as with growth mindset. In sports, you also see it where children or adults will say, you're a natural born soccer player, or you're a natural born swimmer. You're perfect for this. You're a perfect swimmer, or you're a perfect soccer player, or you're a perfect basketball player, where there's this fixed mindset that is constantly reinforced to either children or even adults. And they feel like they have to constantly prove themselves, as opposed to focusing on the work and the effort that is put into it. With leadership and ego, that's another one that we definitely see the fixed mindset very often. When you look at true self-confidence, and when you look at leadership and self-confidence, it's the courage to be open and to be welcome to change and new ideas, regardless of where it comes from. So it doesn't matter the source, but a growth mindset leader will have that courage to welcome anyone's ideas. And if they have that true growth mindset, self-confidence, that they're open to gaining new ideas from anyone. And in feedback, we especially see it as educators when we put feedback on as in the form of a grade or in the form of comments on a student's work. If a student receives a paper back and their only focus is just whether or not it's an A, B, C, or D paper, then that's having a very fixed mindset, because they are just looking for the grade to feed that ego, versus when we give feedback to children where we don't put the grade on there and we ask questions, or we tell them to go back and review certain problems, or perhaps go back and find a problem and make it better, that's developing more of a growth mindset with children, where you're looking at seeking challenge and looking at that feedback in a way to get better. So we really see it quite often with assessments and with grades. With relationships, it's interesting to see it, especially with children and in the middle level, and as they are going into high school, where they're really trying to find their niche as far as relationships. And this means not just romantic relationships, but also friendships, where if children are around others that consistently put them down, that those individuals typically have a fixed mindset, because they have the perspective that if you feel lower than I do, then I feel better. So again, it's about that ego, and that fixed mindset only makes the other children feel worse. And so one of the areas that we really want to develop with children is be around individuals that make you feel better, then you feel by yourselves. And if other individuals lift you up, then you're around your good group of people, as opposed to those that try to bring you down. And that is definitely a dichotomy with fixed versus growth mindset. And then lastly, with bullying, as I highlighted before, when dealing with bullying, especially at the middle level, students that are seeking to get revenge back with dealing with a bully, that's more of a fixed mindset. Whereas having a growth mindset, a student will understand and realize that that bully is acting in a certain way. It's not that it's okay, it's not that it's right, it's just having that understanding and seeking to understand why that individual is acting the way they are, as opposed to just seeking to get revenge and continue the bullying cycle. So these are all areas where you're going to see a fixed mindset as being most prevalent in the work. Now, what kind of words do you hear with a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset? And these are things that, as a parent and guardian, you want to listen for, so that you are able to reinforce more of a growth mindset with your children, and also redirect that fixed mindset. Now, you may hear it, but also know that it can also happen in your head. So for example, if I'm going out for a run and it's a really hard run and I'm really struggling, and I keep saying, you can't do this, you're not doing well, you should just walk, or you should just stop and turn around. That's having a fixed mindset, where I'm convincing myself in my head that I'm a failure and that I can't do it and I'm not capable of doing something. So it's not always auditory in a sense when you say what you can hear, but as a parent and guardian, what you want to do is listen for these words and help redirect some of that fixed mindset language, and redirect your children into having more of a growth mindset. And so when you hear fixed mindset language such as you're a failure, or I'm a failure, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, I can't do this, my life sucks, God hates me, or nobody loves me, that's a very fixed mindset, because you're completely out of control in that change, and you're essentially just giving up on making any positive change. And so what we want to do is, as parents and guardians, and then as educators here at the school, is we want to redirect that language to have more of a growth mindset. And so some of the language that we can redirect children with is, it didn't work out this time, but we can try harder next time to make it work. Or if you did make a mistake, I made a mistake. So for example, I ran a red light and I got caught. It's not that I'm an idiot or that the cop caught me. The issue is that I made the mistake and I have to pay the fine or pay the ticket for it. And so having that growth mindset and stepping up to what challenges I may face. Also another one, and very, very applicable to what we're dealing with right now, is reinforcing to children as well as to ourselves that I'm going through a difficult patch right now, or I'm going through a lot of stress right now due to COVID, but I am grateful for, and whatever you might be grateful for. When you look at really focusing on being grateful, we know that people tend to be more happy in their lives if they focus on the things that they're more grateful for than if they don't. And so we want to reinforce that growth mindset, and it is difficult. No one argues with that, but recognizing that difficulty and then focusing on what we're grateful for, what we're thankful for accomplishing. And another one is one that perhaps if you if a child snaps at their best friend, or if their best friend snaps back at them and it was something that was a very hurtful statement, one of the things that we can reinforce with children is we can say, maybe that wasn't the best response to have to your best friend, or maybe that wasn't the nicest thing that your best friend said to you, but let's have a one-on-one talk to explain what's really going on inside your mind, so that we can do better and improve the relationship. So it's viewing the relationship as something that can get better, and it's not just you either are my best friend or you're not my best friend. But we realize that a relationship takes work, and through that work, we're going to maintain a growth mindset, knowing that it takes effort, it takes time together, and there's times when we need to share our ideas. And as a parent and guardian, one of the key things that Dr. Dweck mentions is really to focus on your message. We want to be very careful. We don't want to identify and say to a child, for example, "You're so smart," because that sends a very fixed mindset where we're saying you're either smart or you're not, and you have to and the child is expected to constantly prove to the parent that they are quote unquote smart. What we want to do is we want to redirect that statement. So if you're inclined to say, "Oh, you're so smart, you did such a tremendous job," really focus on with your child that, "Hey, I'm really impressed that you studied really hard last night, and look at that, you got an A on your exam." Or, "I noticed how you've really been putting in a lot of time online, as well as putting in quite a bit of time on your homework and submitting it on time. I'm really proud of you for submitting and getting that A or that B or even a C on your final exam." And so we want to redirect our message as parents and guardians, as well as education leaders, so that we don't just focus on the fixed mindset of being smart or not smart, but focusing on the qualities that we value with children, which is working hard and putting in the effort. The second one, and we hear this quite often, especially with really younger children as they're growing up, where a parent or a grandparent would say, "Oh, she's the next Picasso," or "He's the next Jordan. Look at him play basketball," or "That individual's the next Yo-Yo Ma with the cello." What we want to do is we don't want to create this fixed mindset of you're either a quote unquote genius or you're not, but we want to reinforce to our children that Picasso, that Jordan, that Yo-Yo Ma, and all of the other individuals that we view as highly skilled in their craft put in the effort and the work to make that happen. It didn't just happen overnight. They didn't just become famous overnight, but they put in a tremendous amount of hours and work and effort in order to get to the point of where they are. And the third quote there reinforces what I had under the first quote, where you say that you're so smart. So you're so brilliant, you got an A without studying. And so it sends a mixed message to children that if I got an A without studying this time, does that mean it's bad if I do study and possibly get a B? So we want to be very careful in the language that we choose with children. Same with "you didn't make any mistakes." We want to value mistakes. It's okay to have mistakes, and in fact, there's a lot of research to support that. The more mistakes you learn, the more you actually maintain the learning overall, as opposed to if you don't make many mistakes, you have more of a tendency to forget it. And then finally, speed. And this is especially evident in mathematics, for example, where we highlight the speed that a child goes. "You did that assignment so quickly. I'm so proud of you." We want to be very careful to not focus on speed, but focus on accuracy. And if we just focus on speed, where it's not necessarily the quality of the work, but the speed at which they did it, then we're sending more of a fixed message as opposed to a growth message. So I do encourage you as parents and guardians to praise your child's intelligence. If you just praise intelligence, if you just focus on being smart or being the next Picasso, or not making any mistakes, that's going to limit a child's motivation and limit their performance, because they'll be more nervous about the next time that they do it. We really want to focus our praise on effort and achievements. And one of the last key components that Dr. Dweck mentions in here is she says that as soon as a child is able to evaluate themselves, and she can really find in her research that begins as early as 4. Some of us may argue that we can see it a little bit earlier, but as far as her research, it definitely starts at 4. Some of them do become afraid of challenges. And so the children do become afraid of quote unquote being not smart. And so what we want to do is we really want to focus on self-evaluation with that growth mindset, where we focus on the effort and the persistence in the task, as opposed to just getting it right. And one of the things that I think really drew me to Dr. Dweck, and I think many of our educators agree, people are all born with that love of learning. But it's that fixed mindset that we could possibly create that would undo that love of learning. We really want a school district where everyone loves to learn and everyone loves coming to school, and enjoys that love of learning. And we want to ensure that we don't reinforce a fixed mindset and undo that love of learning. And in her work, what she highlights is, she said that when students are praised for effort, 90% wanted to do more challenging tasks and to learn more. And so that data alone really shows that if we focus on the effort that children are doing, then they're going to be encouraged to continue to try more challenging tasks and to continue to learn. And so that's one of the key components that we see when we're raising children and raising new learners, is that we really want to focus on that effort, because we all want to have that 90% where they want more of a challenge. And the low effort syndrome, if you see it with your children or with others, it really is to protect the ego. And so that's an area where, if they're protecting their ego, then there's some fixed mindset going on there. And so we want to work on focusing on the effort to help grow that child back to a growth mindset. And know that mindsets aren't permanent. And one of the great things in her book is that she highlights that once you identify that you're having that fixed mindset, you can change your mindset. So if you're having a rough day and you're giving yourself negative self-talk, you can identify, hey, that's my fixed mindset creeping in. I need to change my tone and change my tune. And she really highlights that it's never permanent as far as having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, but we can all change. And once we identify our mindset, we can go towards the growth side of our mindset. One of the things that really helps is to showcase to children how many individuals, famous individuals, that they may see as celebrities, or they may see in the history books. And I have people listed here as well as one animal that is very famous. It really helps to showcase to children the significant amount of failures. For example, these famous individuals and the famous horse Secretariat went through in order to become successful. And so if we showcase to children the many famous individuals that also had a significant number of setbacks, I think that it helps grow their growth mindset, and they realize that it's not just them dealing with setbacks or with failures or with challenges, but that there are famous people all around the world, all across history, that too had a variety of setbacks and a variety of challenges and maintained that growth mindset over and over again. One of my favorite is absolutely Abraham Lincoln, because if you look at his history of constantly not winning various elections, as well as the challenges that he dealt with, it's a great story to tell children as far as overcoming challenges and overcoming setbacks and maintaining that growth mindset. So I believe that these individuals here, as well as possibly Secretariat, we don't know what was going on in Secretariat's head, but these individuals definitely had a growth mindset towards success and high achievement. And one of my favorite commercials that it was published quite a few years ago by Nike was of Michael Jordan. And this is the text of the actual commercial, where he really focused on the missing shots, being held responsible for the game-winning shot and not being able to make it. And yet, through all of those failures, that's why he's a tremendous success. And it's a tremendous Nike commercial, and I encourage you to share that with your children, that without us taking failures and without taking extreme challenges, that we're not going to be able to be successful. And so this is a great example of working through failures and working through challenges in order to become successful in your future. And so I do encourage you to use this work from Dr. Dweck on mindset. And again, I cannot highlight enough, if you would like a copy of the book as a California area school district parent or guardian, we have a form at the very top of our page, or you're very welcome to just give me an email and let me know. I'll be happy to get a copy out to you. That's provided through our Title I activities and our funds. And each month we'll do a different cognitive science book and book study. And so you're more than welcome to sign up for all of the books that we have coming up here this spring semester. I do hope that you enjoyed the work with Dr. Dweck. I appreciate those that are on Facebook. I'll also post this on YouTube, and as well as make it available on our website under the Parent and Guardian section, and it's called Parent University. And I do appreciate all your time today in working with Mindset with me, and I do wish all of you a great evening. So thank you very much.